Hey Flowers, it's Rose. We are on week 7 high school system. If you guys can hear that annoying noise in the background, that's because my school is mowing and they have this big industrial mower and it's super loud and annoying. So week 7 high school stories. In the American education system, there's 3 schools. You have the elementary school, which is where you go from preschool to 5th grade. You have middle school, which is 6th to 7th, and then you have high school, which is 9th to 12th. There are some that have a junior high, which is 7th to 9th, I think. But my area didn't do junior high stuff. We just had high school. So I want to talk about high school because that was the most recent, other than college, and had the most controversial stuff going on. I'm trying to convince my friend to come on and share some of her stories since we went to the same school together and we were in the same grade, but she's super shy and she thinks she'll stutter. I'm trying to convince her that she won't, but we'll see if I can get her on Friday. For those of you that are new to my channel, I am Rose. I'm 22. I'm just sharing my stories. You can hit that subscribe button. You'll get notified when I post. I changed my posting schedule, so I only post 2 times a week. I might shorten that down to 1, but I'm not sure right yet. Today is just kind of like a overview, maybe a little bit of storytelling, and then Friday we'll have storytelling and wrap up. So the high school I went to was actually in my city, and it was like 5 minutes away. The elementary, middle school, and high school were all like a block apart from each other. And like there wasn't just like one elementary school either. There was like 3 elementaries, 4 middle schools, and 2 high schools within the area. And the only reason you got put in a certain one was because of zoning areas, because of development and houses and all that stuff. So I got put in the nicer high school, I guess you could say. The other high school was known for being kind of like a crackpot, druggy school until they got renovated. But our school was really small. Our high school was really small. It was built for 3,000 students, and during my time there, we had upwards of 5,000. So we had overcrowded classes of 40 plus students. We didn't have a swimming pool, so any swim classes or water polo teams had to go to the other high school. We didn't have a football field, so all our football games had to go on a different football field across town. We didn't have baseball or fast pitch fields. We had to use this nasty park that was next door. We did have a park, right behind our school, and we had a river, and kids would sneak off campus, and you always knew who smoked weed because they'd come back smelling like that lemon spray. We had a police officer that walked around all day, and a school security guard who was not really good at his job. We had a principal, vice principal who were, the principal was male, vice principal was female, and then we had a lot of office ladies. I became very close to the office ladies in the attendance office, all 3 of them, because I worked there my senior year. Well, not like worked, but like I took the class and I spent most of my time there. So I still go in every once in a while and visit, and they remember me and they keep asking me to come and help them. And I'm like, unless you're going to pay me, I can't really just do the job. So yeah, I came in right out of middle school, 9th grade. I didn't have any friends. Like I've said before, I really only had the Girl Scout troop. And at this point, we were all kind of just branching off and not really talking with each other anymore. I had one really, really close friend, surprisingly wasn't Marie, but we were both friends with Marie, me and this girl. And she actually introduced me to a couple kids that I knew in elementary school who I have horrible memory, like with names. Like I'll see your face and I'll be like, oh, I know who you are, but I won't know your names. That's what these girls, I was like, I feel like I should know you. And I'm going to call her M, was like, yeah, we went to elementary school with them. We had classes with them. We were friends. I was like, doubt. But I became friends with them. A lot of drama happened my freshman year. I was trying to make a new name for myself. I was in a lot of honor classes, college level studies, especially for English and language arts. Math, I've always failed at. But I had a couple friends in the tech department who were part of the robotics club. I had a couple goth friends. I was friends with someone who was friends with the Russian crew. I was friends with the Shy Wallflowers. I just kind of, like I said, I had a finger in like every pie. Like I knew someone in every clique, but I wasn't associated with the clique. Like if you asked someone from my school, they'd probably be like, Harley who? But they knew who I was because my last name was very distinguishable. One time I remember I brought cookies to school because we had made too many. It was around Christmas time. Brought cookies to school for my friends, and kids who I didn't even know would stop in the hallway and be like, "Hey Rose, how's it going? Can I have a cookie?" I'm like, "Who are you?" But of course I'm a nice person, so I gave them some cookies. I talk with my hands a lot and I'm trying to stop that, but it's hard. Did you guys just see that, like, dust bunny just like whoo? Where was I? I'm in a really good mood today if you can't tell, and that's probably just stress because I should be working on my final projects and I'm not, so my body's just like bubble. Plus graduation is coming soon and I still haven't decorated my hat, so where was I? Freshman year. Didn't have a clique. I mean, I guess I could be considered part of the bookish nerd clique because during lunch I spent most of my time in my teacher's classroom reading or doodling on the whiteboard. That's where I met another one of my friends, actually. We would do art on the whiteboard during lunch, and we had the class right after lunch, so kids would come in and they wouldn't know that we decorated the whiteboard. And I like to think of myself as pretty artistic. Like, I don't do it as much anymore, and I certainly am not pursuing a degree or a career out of it, but I like drawing. Like, it's a nice hobby of mine. I'll show you some work, but I don't have it with me in the dorm. It's back home. But I'm saying a lot too. Jesus, Rose, get yourself together. Um, oh no. Um, so I cut myself off. Freshman year, my older sister was in 12th grade when I was in 9th grade, and I shared this before in one of my previous videos about what happened during my freshman year, so I really don't want to reiterate that again. Then we move on to freshman year ended kind of bad. I had this really, really big fight with M and one of the girls from elementary who I reconnected with, and it all centered on a boy, which stereotypical drama. We think we're all adults now in high school. We start hunting for relationships. This guy who I went to middle school with had a crush on me, and even though I wasn't attracted to him, I was like, you're in high school, you're supposed to have a relationship, you're supposed to have a boyfriend. So I said, let's try it. We tried it for a week. Most of that week was spent with him being sick or me avoiding him. And I ended up texting him one day on the bus to school. I was like, hey, meet me by the stairway. And he's like, no, I know what this is about. Don't even fucking bother. And then he ignored me. Then he stalked me for the next 5 years. He stalked me. He stalked me at my place of work, which was annoying. Like, not aggressively stalking so that I had to file a report, but enough so that I was like, oh my God, this dude is following me. But during the time when I was thinking I had to be in a relationship with this dude, I got a little overconfident, I guess you could say. And then I was a fast pitch kid. I played fast pitch. I was on a bus with the baseball kids because we had a game at the same school. We were on our way back, and I get a text, and immediately I know that it wasn't meant for me because it said something like, "Oh my God, she's pulling you, like, ignore her." And I was like, "What? What?" And I looked at the contact, and it was from M. And I texted back, I'm like, "Who is this for?" And she was like, "Oh, whoops, that wasn't for you." I'm like, "But what? Who was it for?" Come to find out through third parties and then eventually from themselves that M and the girl from elementary school had been talking major shit about me behind my back, saying that I was a whore, I was stuck up, I was treating their friendships like they were dogs, and I was holding a bone for them, which I didn't understand because, like, I wasn't doing any of that. You know, true, maybe I'm not the most expressive friend, maybe I'm not the best friend to have, but I never tried to lead them on or play with their emotions or anything. Like, I was just a friend. I'd see them in school, say hi, share homework tips. We'd text each other when we got home, stupid stories. Like, I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. I still don't think I did anything wrong. I didn't understand why they were doing that. And so I confronted them, and I was like, at the time my emotions were high. So I'm like, "You're just jealous that I have a boy and you don't." Of course, that was the wrong thing to say. Broke their friendships with both of them. I tried to get back with M because I had been friends with her since like second grade, but she didn't want to hear from me. She blocked me on everything. She had her mom on her side. I went to her house once around the time of her birthday because I had a present from her for her that I had for like months in advance because, she was one of my closest friends and she was in the Girl Scout troop. And her mom pretty much told me to go away and never see her again. That she never wanted to see my fucking face again. So that was fun. And of course, since M was kind of the glue between me and several other people, those relationships became strained. So freshman year was hell on wheels. Sophomore year was very lonely because I didn't have a lot of people. I lost a lot of my friends. So it was it was very hard for me sophomore year, especially since sophomore year you're turning 16, you want to show off, have your car. Well, my family's not super rich. Like, we're well off, but even just for me to go to college, I'm thousands of dollars in debt. So of course, when I got my license, I wanted to drive to school because I was like, I'm grown up now. I got my license. I know how to drive. Well, we didn't have a car for me, so it was, hard to walk into school after getting off the bus and kids be like, "Ha ha, where's your car? You can't fucking drive, la 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 la." And I wanted to prove them wrong, but it was hard. I actually didn't drive like to school until middle of junior year and then all of senior year because my little sister was going to school with me and I just drove us both. Um, but yeah, so I was in the fast pitch team. Not good, obviously, because I'm not in it now. But I hated it so much. I actually had my first panic attack. Yeah, panic attack because it came on just suddenly. Sophomore year, I was in my math class, which was the last class of the day, and right after I had fast pitch practice, sitting in math class, all of a sudden, I'm just overcome with terror. I can't breathe. So my teacher's like, "Go to the nurse's office, if you're having an asthma attack or something, we need to get that recorded." Walk into the nurse's office, I'm like, I can't breathe, and I'm having trouble breathing. The nurse looks at me and she's like, "I was expecting you to be blue in the face. Just sit there and relax." I'm like, of course, I don't know what's happening. I just know that I'm suddenly like shaking, my skin is clammy, I'm sweating, I can't breathe. So of course I call my dad and I'm like, "Dad, I don't think I can do fast pitch. I'm gonna come home." And he's like, "Okay." Call my coach and I'm like, "Hey coach, something came up, I have to leave." Of course I felt really bad about it, and that didn't help my anxiety because all of a sudden guilt. Was it sophomore year? No, it was junior year. Sorry, I'm remembering memories. Um, but no, so freshman year I was on the JV team. Sophomore year, I was put on the C team, and it was really humiliating because I'm this 16-year-old, really tall girl with a bunch of 15-year-old girls who are better at fast pitch than me, and these JV girls that I was playing with last year are now on the varsity team, and I'm 2 teams below them. Like, it was really humiliating, and it was because we changed coaches, and the coach didn't like me. Like, I can say that right out. He didn't like me. Because I wasn't good. He cared about winning, and I wasn't good. I was a bench warmer. Played outfield, and I sucked at that. But, so sophomore year was kind of not as bad as freshman year, but almost just as bad. And in my school, you have to understand, in my high school, there were so many cliques. And if you got on the wrong side of someone, even though our high school was the better high school, we were still pretty ghetto, I guess is the term. A lot of middle class and low income families. We didn't have a lot of richy rich. We had a few, because where the high school was where the new developments were, where people went and played that they were rich. But those were the spoiled brats. So we had a lot of cliques, and we had a lot of groups of certain people. Yeah, it was a pretty diverse high school, really diverse, and like I said, I had a hand in every pie. Like, I was friends with everyone, but I knew people that weren't friends with everyone, and on any given day, you could catch 2 gangs beating each other up after school hours behind in the park. So it was never a dull day, never a dull time. So, but I'm not gonna give away all my stories right now because I have another video to do. So I think I'm going to cut it off there for today. Like I said, I'm Rose. Hit that subscribe. You'll get notified when I post. Hit me at my Twitter at RoseYouTubes. I'm going to post on Friday, finishing up junior and senior year, and then wrapping up. Until then, love you all, and I'll see you later, flowers.